Hey, this is Mr. Gore from New Sullivan. Shout out to Cape Chicago. I had the information in the description. This is gonna be a real easy lesson today. It might be a little hard. You might have to watch it a few times, but this is really a simple lesson. Okay, so we've been talking about four a lot, and we've been talking about a lot of times what a number, the bottom number is four. Okay, and basically with that, what the bottom number did, it showed you that the quarter note gets one beat and that the whole note gets four beats, okay? If it's four. But if we change that number to eight, all the notes change, right? And they pretty much change. Remember we talked about music being math, they change by double, or like say if we times two, right? Or plus the same number. And this might sound more complicated than it is. So let me just break it down. This is why we're doing this lesson. So we're talking about 6, 8. So 8 being the bottom number means that the whole note, instead of getting 4, when 4 is the bottom number, now instead of getting 4, the whole note gets 8 because 8 is the bottom number. So now 8 beats whenever you see a whole note, which is the circle note, right? The lowercase d or the half note, that's going to now get 4 beats because it used to get 2. 2 times 2 is 4, right? Remember I said we just pretty much doubling everything. So a quarter note now doesn't get 1 beat, it gets 2 beats. An eighth note doesn't get a half a beat, it gets 1 beat. A 16th note gets half a beat, not a fourth of a beat, okay? So that's only when 8 is the bottom number. So let me do a demonstration really quick of each one for you. If we count, and you can't even use this first one, the whole note, because the top number is 6, right? We're talking about 6, 8. And the first one would only be if the time signature was 8, 8 or above. You couldn't use the first one because remember we only can count the first number. The top number always tells you what number you can count up to. So for 6, 8, 6 is the first number, so that's the biggest number we can count to. But since 8 is the bottom number, you can't. So you would never see a whole note in 6, 8. But in 6, 8, I mean in anything 8, in 8, 8 or 7, 8. I mean, not 7, 8, I'm sorry, in 8, 8 or 9, 8 or 11, 8 or 12, 8 or 10, 8 or 13, 8 or 15, 8. It's a lot of different crazy times that we can count to, right? In those different 8s, you can get a whole note. So I'm going to break down each one while counting 6, 8, right? First, let's start with whole note, and that's not counting 6, 8, that's just me counting 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's if we count the 8 or 9 somehow, right? We can add one of those notes in. Half note in 6, 8 would be 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you would probably need 2 eighth notes, right? Or something. See, remember, all these are combinations, so I'm just showing you can only get 4. You only can get 1 half note in a measure counting to 6 because it's counting to the number 4. So you still gonna have 2 beats where you can put a quarter note. Remember, quarter note gets 2 now, which is 1, 2, right? But if we add, let's do a half note and a quarter note. If I do the half note first and then a quarter note, half note gets 4, quarter note gets 2. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's how that would sound if I combine those two, because these are still combinations. So now the eighth notes gets 1 beat. So every time you need 6 of those to make a measure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's exactly what's going on. Same thing. Let's go back to the quarter note one more time. That's the one that gets 2. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's how you count that. Okay. And then if we do the 16th notes, which is the biggest ones for right now in here, and it's not the biggest ones in 6, 8, but this is the biggest ones we'll talk about because most of the time this is the biggest ones they use for a lot of beginner intermediate stuff. It's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 in, right? Okay? Same thing. It's the exact same way we count everything else. You just move. The way I like to think of it, personally, I think of everything shifting up, right? Because if you look, you can look at it that way too. If we go from the bottom, remember what gets a half usually? Not a 16th note, an eighth note, the one above it. So if you put a 16th note right there and start, and you put the same chart that you would use for the normal 4 system, right? It all will add up in the long run. So counting 6/8 is not that hard. It's pretty much double everything. It's pretty much double everything that we already know. It's double the value of things in 4. If you want to look at it for the different notation, each note is double the value it would be in 4. So it won't be it's basically moving up to the next what the next note would normally be. Okay? Hopefully this makes sense. If it doesn't, you can reach out to me. I really hope I explained this. This sounds harder than what it really is. This is very simple. But at the same time, it's very hard to understand too at the same time. And it's something that we should know. And it's something that it's another common way to count. People count to 4 and 6 all the time. Those are 2 numbers that's mostly counted to, 4 and 6, or 4 and 3. When 3 plus 3 is 6, and you get what I'm saying. All the stuff is divisible, and they all go hand in hand. Okay, so know I'm talking a lot, but I just really want to make sure that I cover all bases on this. So hopefully you guys understand this lesson and have a great one.